Hey guys, for this video we're gonna remove the stock bumper on my Jeep and put on a aftermarket bumper from Fishbone Off-Road. So I'm going to show you how you take off the original bumper. Now this is a Jeep Gladiator, but it'll be the same process for a Wrangler. How to take off the stock bumper, and then we'll do the installation process for the new bumper. And to take a quick look at this Fishbone Off-Road bumper, you can see it still has the holes that we can mount our fog lights in. We have the winch guard here, some more hardware over there, but that's what you get in the packaging. Now let's get this stock one off. First thing we need to do is remove this plastic filler panel, and it just has these little guys right there. You're going to pop out the middle section and then the entire body will come out. You can use like a screwdriver or a little panel tool like this, and there's a few also along this inside edge. Once you get those out, it'll just pull right off. Got all our little push pins out, and then this guy just picks right up. Taking that filler panel off gets you access to the wiring harness for your fog lights. Just get a screwdriver or something, push a little bit on here, and pull this guy out, just like so. Every day, have the fine Prime truck stopping at the house, dropping off more goodies. This part will have some slight variation. I have a Rubicon. So I have this skid plate here that's held on with 4 bolts that are 13 millimeter. One there, one there, one there, and one over there. Now there's some variation. You may have like a plastic piece with a metal, sheet metal thing underneath there, and it'll have some more of those push pins that hold it to the bumper, and you'll have some bolts down there. But otherwise it's the same, and this isn't actually attached to the bumper, but it's going to give us access to the nuts we have to take off. Up inside the bumper we have 8 nuts to take off. There's these 2 and these 2 on the inside, which are a little more difficult to get at only because we're laying down inside here. And then on the outside, I don't know where the camera's aiming, but you'll see there's some on the outside as well. So let's get those 8 nuts off. And this is an 18 millimeter. Two down, 6 to go. Got the 4 inners off. Now you can see the outers tucked in right there. 2 on each side. Now with those nuts off, we should be able to just slide it forward and take it off. So that's what it's going to look like once you get that bumper off. And you can see those nuts that we took off had studs going through these brackets there. So you just kind of work it off coming out the front. You're ready to go. Now we still need these fog lights. So we have the same style of push pins that we got to remove here to access the housing to take that off. And we're going to need the wiring harness, so we'll probably have to take this bar off too, but we'll see what it looks like once we get the plastic ends off. Plastic covers are off both sides. I'm going to take apart the little housing guy. These are 7mm here. It looks like you got 4 of them going around the perimeter. Those are all off, and then this just lifts up like so. Oh good, we got a bug already on there. So just take that guy out. Now I'm going to take off this plate with these nuts here, because somewhere we're going to get access to the entire wire harness. And that looks like the next best step. Now those nuts were 13mm, and then you also on each end have the little push pin that's holding the wiring harness in there. You should be able to push back a little bit if you got one of these little panel popper guys. Just pry it off. You should be good to go. So that's what it looks like with the plate off. We can see the wires going up through here, but that didn't give us access to it. All these little spots are probably spots where the wire's held in place. And then there's one right here, which I'm going to try and save if there's any way on the new one to use it if we can. So this is held in with these guys, which are probably more 7mm. We'll fish that out there. We also got access to these guys. Might be worth saving for some other application. So those 7mm go all the way around the perimeter, and then we need to disconnect the housing portion of our fog lights. So you just have this guy here, and if you give this guy a little squeeze, and might not be the easiest thing to do one-handed, but anyway, give it a little squeeze and pull and it'll come off. Now here's that inner piece just flipped over. There's the main shell. We're looking at the part you can see, you know, when the bumper's on the car. And you can see the wiring harness coming through here. We'll pull it through. Then we have to remove the clips here. And again, I'm going to try and save them as much as I can, because I don't know which ones I'll be able to reuse to make things look nice and tidy on the new one. But we're just going to use our little tool and pop all these off. And now we have the wiring harness all off, and we're ready to figure out what we got to do with that new bumper now. Old one, all done. Now we get to finally play with our fishbone. I know, take advantage of the opportunity. First thing we have to do is put our foamies, rolling with the foamies, put our foamies on the winch guard here. So they are left and right. You can see the little cutout here is probably your easiest way to tell. Little slit there, whoa. And then peel and stick that guy, lining up the holes just like so. And there we go, all foamed up. Let's see what they want us to do next. We have to attach the winch guard. We're going to put 4 bolts on, 2 over here, 2 over here. Now we're going to put 2 bolts in the top on either side for that winch guard. It's the larger bolts, the diameter larger M12. So you're going to do bolt washer, underside washer, lock washer, nut. And I didn't tighten them for now, but just get them started. Now we need to put our winch bracket on there, and it's just going to line up with these holes right here, like so. You're going to use the remaining M12 bolts, washers, lock washers, and nuts. This thing we can go ahead and tighten down because there's nothing else that's going to move that affects that at all. Now for these bolts, you're going to use a 19 on both sides. Now we need to reinstall the fog lights, and it looks like there's 4 or 5 different options, but you can see how we have various mounting holes. So it looks like they've tried to make it universal. So like this guy will sit in just like that for mine, and these screws are easy on the left, but on the right the bracket's way down there with the threaded holes through that, and it obviously doesn't reach. Now they give you various hardware, and they have these like spacer guys, which I'm guessing I would use in my situation, but I can't understand which of these screws am I supposed to be using. And then if we look here, you see this one has 4 super long screws, that has 4 super long screws. Unless they're in a different package, there was no super long screws included. So I've come to the conclusion we don't have the hardware we need. I have 5,000 boxes of hardware, and of course I don't have anything that's skinny enough yet long enough to bridge that to thread into that hole. Now I got these other ones all tightened up. And that's just a lock washer with the Phillips head bolt there. But you absolutely need something on this side because you can see how much it moves. So I hate to do this, but also you don't need this bolt there. I just had that there. I'm just going to get a tie wrap, run it through this hole, wrap it around this bracket, and then when I can get the appropriate hardware, I'll go ahead and switch that out. But for now, the show must go on. This has to get in today, so that's what we got to do. I think this will be accessible once with the bumper on. So here's my begrudging temporary fix. We'll do that to each side for now. The next steps will be mounting the bumper to the vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten these guys up, the couple that I had left loose previously, and that's back to your 19 millimeters, 2 on each side. Now we're all ready to mount the bumper. If you remember, the last one had the studs on the bumper, so you can just pull it right off. This is going to be a little bit more difficult because we're running bolts through here, and you're going to have to kind of hold it in place. I have this little hydraulic cart, so it won't be too bad. You might need a friend or a jack stand, something to hold it in place there. But we're going to use our remaining bolts we have here with the washers, lock washers, and nuts, and throw them on. Alright, got the bumper all installed and tightened up. Still got to run the wiring for the fog lights. And then I'm in Illinois, so we got to figure out the license plate, where we're going to mount it. Trying to route the wires for the fog lights. You have a lot of extra wire now because they're so much closer together with the smaller bumper. Now, one thing I did have to do was pull the connector out. You can see the little tab right here because this wire wasn't going to reach all the way around now to fit. So I had to pull it out, and it's just laying there, but that should be fine like that. And then all the extra wire, I just tie wrapped it to that bar right there. It doesn't look great from this angle, but you can't tell from anywhere else, and no one else is getting under here. But Jeep was already using that bar for another wiring harness anyway, so I'm just adding to it. And it definitely at this point would look cleaner to take these little clips off because there was no place you could use them on this. Alright, I gotta put my skid plate back on the bottom. Well, there it is. Skid plate's back on. Bumper's on. Looking all good and stubby, just like me. Figured I'd give you guys another look at it before I have to put a dang plate on the front. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching.